Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 17, Game Over. I don't know what it is about this time of day, but StreamYard hates me on Mondays at this time. So I'm going to be off camera for most of this review. You know what I've come to realize during this episode? At this point, I am not interested in any one of these ladies and what they have going on. I'm not even interested in a reunion and all of the three parts. I feel like this could have been so much better, but because of production, because of Kenya, because of Britt, because of Shamia, because of Portia, because of all the ladies on this screen, it just didn't give what I was hoping it would give. As far as Shamia goes, I feel like she's a liar. All of the newbies are not lying on you. When it comes to Portia, Portia was not the anchor that they thought she'd be. Britt gets on my nerves, but she did create some issues. She did help some storylines move along. And I would have actually liked to see her come back for season 2 to see what it would have been like for her to answer to all the things that since come back about her. Phaedra, I still don't know why they brought you back. Kelly, I would love it if you would be direct. Phaedra, womp womp. I mean, y'all, I'm not feeling it. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. Do me a favor and hit the like button as we talk about it. So we begin the episode with Portia and Lauren heading to Phaedra's to discuss some additional funeral arrangements for Londi. It it takes a lot for a person to be willing to be involved in that type of business because it's not easy. So the fact that Phaedra is willing to do this, that is helping her friend in this way, I'll give her a little bit of credit. Not too much though, not too much. I still don't trust Phaedra, but I can appreciate that she's doing this for her. So they're trying to finalize everything, and apparently Phaedra has been a go-between for certain things. Like we heard Portia mention, I contacted the pastor that you gave me the number for. So she's been helping Portia get some things in order because Portia didn't realize how much all of this takes. We find out that Lauren was on the phone with Londi when she passed. The way that my stomach dropped when that information was revealed, that is something that will unfortunately remain with Lauren for a long time, if not forever. My heart goes out to her, and I really, really hope that she is able to seek help, that she's got some type of counseling, that she's been, beginning the processes of dealing with her grief, and that she has a support system for herself because it takes a lot out of someone with an unexpected loss, and then to hear the last moments, that had to be tough for her. So Portia tells Phaedra that she was at work when she got the call that Londi was in distress, and then not even 2 hours later, she passed. They prepared to eat, and they see butterflies on the plate, and they pause because Londi loved butterflies, and they've been seeing a lot of those since she's passed. I always felt like people were kind of making that up when they talked about how they saw this or they saw that, whether it be a butterfly or a certain color or different types of animals, until my brother passed, right? So, story time. My brother used to always, whenever he got a chance, love posting up on my godfather's car, right? And he'd take pictures on this one side of the car, the passenger side of the car, leaned up against it, hanging on like the mirror and all these other things, right? It's just, yeah, it's what he did. And after my brother passed, I started seeing cardinals here and there, but I remember the week of when we were preparing for like his funeral and stuff, that cardinal came and sat on the passenger side mirror, the side mirror, like it was its job. every single morning and every afternoon without fail. And we had this running thing that, I guess it brought us comfort. I don't know if it's true or not. Y'all tell me what you think, but we had this running thing where we felt like it was God's way of reminding us that he's okay. Some people in my family thought that it was him coming to visit, but I was like, my brother is not coming back as a bird. These are the thoughts that went on in my head. So when they spoke on the fact that they keep seeing these butterflies, I feel like it's the universe's reminder that, that person is still with you, like you're still carrying that person in your heart. So Phaedra suggests that because Londi loved butterflies so much that they do a butterfly release, and Portia jokes about it, asking if the butterflies will come back. Cute little moment. Before I forget, I am not going to be going into deep detail like I normally do when it comes to this. I'm gonna finish out the season, even the reunions, unfortunately. But I'm not gonna give a play by play because a lot of it to me is just the same old, same old. So we see Angela. Angela is going through it, not just because of past infidelity and the rumors that are going on, but because she cannot sell those houses. So she goes to see her therapist, Wendy, who she's apparently, based on the report, been seeing for a while. She lets her know that at this point she's ready to cut her losses when it comes to the houses, that the houses have caused a whole bunch of unnecessary issues, especially because Charles didn't want her to do it in the first place. See, we give Charles a lot of a mess, right? Myself included, especially me, because I feel like a lot of times Charles doesn't seem interested, but I feel like there's more to it than what we're being told, because here you are admitting that your husband didn't want you to do it and you did it anyway. Maybe he's annoyed with you a little bit because of some of the decisions you've made, which makes me wonder if he even wanted her to do this show. So she says it's caused, a wedge between them. And at this point, he's tired of giving her money to pour into those houses. She then lets the therapist know about what happened at Kelly's event, that she did bring it up to Charles about the whole guy approaching her and making the toast and saying what he said, and she asked him if it was true or not, and he wanted to know if Angela could trust that it isn't true. He tells her that he feels like it's a plot. She said it took her a while, but she is in this space where she does trust him. So if he's saying it's a plot, then she's going to believe her husband. At this point, though, what she's tired of is people coming for her marriage. What else did they have to come for? Not to say it like that, but I just Angela, some of it is self-inflicted because you said certain things that caused them to wonder. You made certain comments. You talked about him not answering the phone for your anniversary. You made certain mentions about, your mom and him not getting along. Like, you put certain things out there that make them question. Of course, it doesn't help with the other rumors that were already circulating from some of the other ladies. So she doesn't understand why people are trying to destroy her marriage. And at this point, she tells her therapist she's not letting this whole situation go. She does trust Charles, but she wants to get to the bottom of it. So we see that Shamia has been working on her music and now she's ready to do a showcase. This is not going to be any type of showcase, though. This is like a little mini concert. I was surprised by how much she had going on. So the various ladies arrive, right? And um Cynthia lets it be known that she has to leave early because she has to catch a flight to New York. Britt walks in, hugs everybody, ignores Kelly. This, we find out, is their first time seeing each other since the whole drama that happened at Phaedra's shopping experience. Kelly says she's ignoring Britt and that she's basically done. It seems like the both of you all are done with each other. And I just still don't understand how an issue with glam turned into you all throwing out each other's secrets, right? Before Shamia even comes out, Drew makes it known that she's going to be listening to make sure that the mic is on. Drew, I understand what you're saying. I get it, especially since Shamia has had so much to say about your singing. However, you are not the ultimate singer. So I don't really feel like you're in a place where you should be so outspoken about Shamia's music. But I get it. Shamia says things about you. So now you want to get your get back and say some stuff about her. So in the back, while they're rehearsing, Shamia sounds good to me. But when she comes out, it wasn't really giving vocally what I thought it was going to give. I don't know if it was because she was nervous or what, but it just it yeah, I was underwhelmed by the singing that I heard because they played what I don't know if they were playing the demo and she was singing over it, which I hope that wasn't the thing. Or if they just did that for the sake of filming, right? I give her credit though. She did put on a full performance. We did see her changing outfits. We did see her with the piano and the flowers and the candles and all that stuff. She worked the crowd. Her husband was there, her daughter was there, some of her family and other, different music execs and people were there. So or so we're told. So it seems like it was a good event. Most of the ladies had nice things to say about it, some not so much. At the end, as they're waiting for her to come back and say hi, you got Angela checking in with all the ladies to make sure that they're coming to her husband's charity event. Apparently, Charles has this foundation that feeds people. I think they said they're trying to feed 100,000 people, and they are raising funds in order to do so. They've done this previously, and this is something that he's very passionate about, especially because there were times where he himself as a child did not have meals. So she wants them to spread the word on their social medias so that they can get as many people there as possible. The question is asked by someone, how many followers do you have? It turns into this whole thing. I can't remember if they were asking Drew or what, but it turns into this whole thing where Britt wants to make sure that they're accounting for real followers, not fake ones, because she claims that Kelly grew like 80,000 followers in one day. I just don't understand why this is even a thing. I don't. I feel like y'all got too much time on your hands that you guys are stalking one another on social media and watching follower counts and all those other things. Like, is it that deep? Do you not have anything better to do? Britt, work on your bare naked or on your agency. Like, what are we doing here? So she feels like Kelly bought her followers. Who cares? Kelly says, you must be watching me. It's just a bunch of unnecessary back and forth. While Shamia's daughter, Shiloh, is in the room watching these women go back and forth. I'm not breaking that whole thing down. So Shamia comes in and thanks the ladies for supporting her. She asks Britt to stay back, though, so they can talk. It turns out that Cynthia because Cynthia's the bone carrier this season. She does it in a nice way, though. Cynthia must have went to or did go to Shamia and told Shamia what was said about her and these text messages and things of that nature, right? What was said about Portia. Shamia tells us Britt is a liar. She tells Britt, I never showed you any text messages. I'm going to be honest with you guys. And I halfway was trying to root for Shamia, but I personally feel like Shamia showed that girl something. You might not have showed her all the text messages. You might have took out your phone and read the text messages and maybe not show her the phone, but you said something in reference to something that she's told you in a text message, because there's no way that Britt pulled this out of thin air. I'm not buying it. I don't see it like that. I don't. There's comments about, Britt being jealous of her and Kelly's friendship. I do believe that that's true. I do believe that Britt got jealous of how close Shamia and her got. But if you notice, Britt's trying to get close to Portia. So everybody is in it for themselves here, right? But I also feel like two things can be true, which is that Britt is trying to get, no, which is that Britt is jealous of Shamia and Kelly's new dynamic, and that Shamia is a liar. So then we hear about how she can't handle her liquor. This is Shamia talking about Britt and how, She goes naked. It's just like, girl, why are we what does that have to do with anything? It was so much deflection in this episode that I'm just like, because Shamia, girl, it's obvious that you've been talking crap about your friend. When Angela called you out in the very beginning, you tried to deny it, and then it turned out that some of it was true. Maybe they put a little zhuzh on it, but it was true. You lied about the way that Drew said the thing about how she was gonna help, fund PJ going to college. Like, it's just thing after thing. It's annoying. So you go from them going back and forth about that to then Britt making a comment about Shamia's daughter and how she felt bad for Shamia when she was crying. But then she kind of looked at her a little bit differently after they got to Miami and Shamia was busy popping shots, and Shamia says, well, at least I'm not popping pills. I said, what in y'all got to stop with these accusations. You take it too far. So Britt is basically accusing her of lying, of her making it seem like things are worse than they are, or either that or that she's not being a good mom, because why are you taking shots when you need to be worried about your kid? I don't know. Either way, I don't think Shamia was lying about her daughter. I think that Shamia was just trying to escape the moment. So we later see Kelly at home with her girls. They talk about the newest location for Nana's Chicken and Waffles. She is nervous about really going through with it because at this point, she does not want her current husband, soon to be ex-husband, coming in and trying to take her business. That was a great excuse then, but as of the end of this filming, she still didn't have the Chicken and Waffles open, and her divorce was finalized. So what's the holdup? So we go to Drew. Drew. Ralph is playing in Drew's face yet again. The kids are out of town. They're in Chicago with Drew's mom. So he comes up to the stairs and asks if he could talk to her. Ralph has this way of speaking to Drew like he's just this man that is so calm and rational all the time. And I know that this man is putting on an act for these cameras. And for whatever reason, Drew always allows him to do it. I think that if Ralph really wanted Drew, if Ralph really put a little bit of effort towards Drew, that Drew would still give him another chance, because she really, really gives like these pick me vibes when it comes to him. Because even though he's putting you through the ringer, even though you sitting there talking about how ugly things have gotten, even though we know what we know now, here she is and she allows him to come up the stairs. So he comes up the stairs and he's playing on the piano, asking her how they got there. He's disappointed that he's not allowed to be with his kids Monday through Friday. You're asking how we got here. You know how you got there. Infidelity issues, you treating her like she didn't matter. I mean, the list goes on and on, Ralph. Why are we playing dumb? So he's talking about how it's hard for him that, he can't, take the kids to school, that the judge won't allow him to see his kids Monday through Friday. And I'm just wondering what the reason is why the judge ordered that. Why did the judge say you can't see them Monday through Friday, especially considering that you live downstairs in the basement? I am confused. What aren't y'all telling us? But as usual, Drew is still protecting this man. This man has been coming for her left and right on social media, yet here she is playing Captain Save-A-Ho. He's released screenshots and pictures and wants to have the case open and all these other things, and is talking about you being a liar, and is apparently going to be on the reunion still talking crap about you. But here you are letting him play in your face and make it seem like he's this person he's not. So Drew says, I'm not trying to keep your kids from you. All you have to do is ask if you can take them to school, and you can take them to school. Drew, I need you to make sure that's okay. I need you to contact the judge and make sure that's okay, rather than just jumping to conclusions. Don't end up getting in trouble because you're doing something that you're not supposed to do. If it's court ordered that is Monday through Friday, then that's what it is. So we see Phaedra and the same guy that she was with on Married to Medicine, Chet. We're reminded that he's young, he's chocolate, he's tall. They're at a winery. They make their own charcuterie boards. They kiss. He's going to go to the gala with her as her date. End scene. So we're at Britt's. Her mother has moved in. They have decided to do a family with a family. a dinner with both sides of her family, both her side and his side, because they were not able to meet each other prior to them getting married. Because we're reminded that they got married during the pandemic and it was not a big ceremony and the family couldn't meet each other. So we see them sit down, eat, laugh, talk. It seems like it's a nice vibe. Britt makes this huge amount announcement where she thanks them and lets them know that they're going to be getting married soon and everybody's invited. And after that, then they could have babies. So it's time for Charles Oakley and his foundation's event. The goal is to raise $50,000. All of the ladies, including Portia, arrive. Portia looks beautiful. One thing about Portia, her wigs are most often laid, and she just like her body is like, girl, she looked pretty to me. She looked really pretty. So Drew, as usual, is late. She calls Britt call not Britt, I'm making up names. Angela calls Drew to find out her ETA. Drew tells her she's just leaving. Drew, you got to stop this. You got to stop doing this. It makes it seem as if you don't care. And being that I don't really feel like you gave us a lot this season, I don't know if it's because the Portia storyline got old to me or what. They're trying to ice you out, girl, and you being late to stuff isn't helping the situation. You over there at the last chair, even though we spent a significant amount of time talking about you and Portia for majority of the season. We didn't just get over this whole issue with y'all until what, 3 episodes ago? And they put you in the last chair. They gave Phaedra a better position than you. You got to show up, Drew. You got to show up. So, um, we find out that she wants Drew there because Drew and Angela met up with Marcus to find out where the story came from. We get a clip of it. At this point, he's saying somebody in the group gave him the story. So they sit down. Britt tells Portia that Shamia is mad at her. Girl, mm, 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 mm. I just Britt. Portia just lost her cousin. This is a charity event. Why are you trying to talk to Portia right now about Shamia? It's just it's not the right time. So Charles and Angela are on the stage thanking everyone for coming, letting them know, different things about the foundation, honoring a few people, one of which is a lady from Meals on Wheels Atlanta who provides 2 meals a day for senior citizens. That is amazing. Especially because a lot of them can't take care of themselves. So I think that's awesome. So the last participant that is honored is Portia in honor of her cousin Londi. Portia gets to the stage. She thanks the foundation. She gives a beautiful, short and quick thank you message. And she mentions how much, this meant to her cousin, how Londi loves supporting organizations like these, which is part of the reason why Angela and Charles decided to do that. Portia is touched that Angela did that. And at the end of her speech, she gets a little emotional. When she comes down, all the ladies are around her, making sure she's good, especially Britt and Shamia. It seems like both of them are in competition to be her best friend, but that's just my opinion. So she's apologizing for, getting emotional. Girl, you don't need to when it comes to that. That was your cousin who was like a sister. Like, no. So Shamia lets us know that she sent flowers and a card and she's been calling because they're family no matter what. Good for you, Shamia. But I'm hoping that production asked you that question because I just didn't feel like you needed to say all that. So Drew gets a text. Wait, is it Drew? Why do I have Drew written here? Or was it Angela? Um, there's a text that Marcus is there. Angela and the ladies sit down and she wants to talk about the guy that ambushed her. How it's odd that it even happened at Kelly's event, how strange it was that Kelly did a toast with the man. Portia wants to know, like, are you questioning Kelly? Like, are you thinking it's Kelly? Kelly tells us she would never do that. She'd never do such a nasty thing. And Angela then turns her questions to Britt. Britt claims she's a married woman that would never sabotage her. Kelly is laughing at this point, like, and Phaedra kind of touches her to get her to quiet down. Kelly, you need to grow up. The passive aggressiveness is annoying. It's so annoying that you act so childish, that you don't just directly come out and say what you want to say. Like, it's all these other antics and stuff in the back. It just makes me have to root for Britt, which annoys me because I don't like Britt. So Britt says, and we're moving in a good direction, and I just want to do that. And when she says this, you see that Kelly nudges Shamia like, yeah, right, Britt, you did try to sabotage her at Cynthia's cookout when you were talking about the side baby. So now all of a sudden you saying you wouldn't do that. I remember what you did, girl. So Drew goes to get the guy because they're talking about, the situation. And Portia is thinking, why would you bring him here to talk about your man cheating? Because she's obviously trying to vindicate her man. She wants this guy to say what it is that he knows and who told him to do what so she could clear Charles' name. But I don't feel like this landed the way that Angela thought it would. So Drew walks over with Marcus, and Charles comes out of nowhere, y'all. When I say Charles came out of nowhere, Charles comes out of nowhere. He's like, you got to get out. You got to get your mother out of here. You're like, you got to get out. And I was like, oh, Charles, you're at this charity event, Charles. People are around. Watch yourself. It's clear Angela didn't run this past her husband. Now, Angela, this is yet another reason why you may sometimes have issues with your husband. Because why are you not telling him that you planning on doing this? So at this point, the people who are making a scene are the Oakleys, and this is supposed to be the Oakleys charity event. So Angela's like, trust me, trust me, trust me. I want him to say what's going on. I want him to say what's going on. Let him talk. Let him talk. Trust me. So the other ladies are watching all of this, and they talk about how, in the NBA, Charles was known as an enforcer. Like, he was the enforcer. Angela says, let him talk. Marcus says, I apologize. I apologize. I think he said that day or something like that. Either way, I don't know if he meant like the day that she met up with him and Drew, or if he meant that day when everything went on. But either way, he said he apologized. And he's like, and I'm apologizing to you. So Charles basically in his own way lets him know, like, this right here spared you. She spared you. He tells her, I don't got time for this. And he ends up walking off, as he should. As he should. I feel like this it's not a good look. So Marcus starts talking about how Phaedra is the one who told him, because they all sit down. She had somebody drop off an envelope that had information in it. They have a mutual connect named Junebug or Jimmy Dean, or you get the point. Jimmy is some common name that, supposedly is in a whole bunch of people's family. I don't have one of those in my family, but okay. He says she's the godfather of Atlanta. She controls Atlanta. None of these ladies believe it, especially because, as they're saying, Phaedra just got there. Portia feels like it's a plot that Todd set up. We get that famous clip of the aunties telling Candy that about Todd. Phaedra says, I'm an easy target. Portia feels like Phaedra is being framed. Next thing you know, Marcus says what he has to say, goes back and forth a little bit, and then walks away. So Angela feels like Phaedra did this to her because she's jealous of her ring. She's jealous of the marriage. Faye says she's not. Which I don't think she's jealous of her marriage, but I do think that Phaedra likes to cause problems. I don't know whether or not I believe this is all Phaedra, though. Some of it is given production. I know last episode I was thinking it was Phaedra, but I don't know, because when it was said that it was Phaedra had that look, that same look that she had when Portia revealed what she revealed about her when it came to that Candy situation. But then with Phaedra, you just never know, right? So Faye is like, I thought I liked you. Angela says, the Godfather says to be weary of a person that brings you information, and you're the one that brought me the information. This is when we find out that, according to Angela, which I do believe this part, that Phaedra called her and told her that she remembered that man from somewhere. She gave Angela his first name, his last name, and where he works. Now, I don't know why at first Angela said that she found this man because people don't play about her, when now she's saying it was Phaedra that gave her the information. Either way, at some point, something happened. Phaedra says she didn't do all of that. She got his name because he introduced himself to them. As I said, I think Phaedra called her, and that's that. Either way, Faye says that the culprit is probably Kelly, because she's the one who made no, she didn't call out Kelly. She's like, the culprit is probably the person who made the list for the event, alluding to Kelly. Faye says she would not do, anything like that after everything that happened with this group, meaning after all the crap that she did to Candy. Next thing you know, Phaedra makes it known that Angela's house, or Angela's in foreclosure, which has nothing to do with it. But as I said, the ladies deflected a lot this episode. Angela's like, girl, that's not a secret. I'll tell you that. Next thing you know, they're going back and forth. Angela wants to know if Phaedra lets the kids see their father. Angela, stop. That don't have anything to do with this situation. Somebody says leave the kids out of it. I can't tell who it is, if it was Cynthia or what, because I was busy taking notes while I was at work. Kelly thinks it's Britt because of how petty she is. Portia thinks it's Angela, that Angela did it to herself. Kelly tells the group no one is telling the truth these days. We see a message that says after 3 years, Kelly is divorced as of September 2024. She's trying to open a new Nana's Chicken and Nana's Chicken in Sandy Springs in the summer of 2025. Good luck, because we in the summer 2025. I told you about someone saying kids are off limits. That's when you got Shamia saying, oh, my kid wasn't off limits, because Britt brought up my kid the other day saying I was faking that she was sick. Britt says that's not what I said. I just made mention of you being in Miami and taking a shot and hanging with Kelly. Okay, Britt, you alluded to her faking it though. You alluded to it. But it wasn't like she came out and said something directly about your kid, Shamia, though, too. So both of y'all on something. At this point, Shamia is calling her all types of stuff like ho and whatever else, talking about how she threatens people with, pow pows and all this other stuff. And I just feel like, Shamia, you just pick up whatever anybody else drops, because you brought up the pill popping thing because Kelly brought up the pill popping thing at Phaedra's event. Now you talking about the pow pow thing after Kenya is already gone, when before you acted like Kenya being bothered by it wasn't such a big deal. So pick a struggle. So at this point, Britt is over it. She walks off saying that these girls are low and she doesn't want to do this anymore. She's telling her husband this. Her thing at the end says that she's about to open up a new insurance agency and she's working hard to release Bare Naked so people can be as snatched as her. After all the arguing at the gala, whatever you call it, Drew says, I think we're done here. Angela goes up to Faye and thanks her for her introduction to the group. Her message says, Phaedra's message says she's booked and busy and adding more jobs to her resume until her boys retire her. Angela's message says she sold 3 houses and she lost 2, and that she's about to have a new business. Portia didn't want, we see Portia talking to Phaedra and Cynthia, and she wanted to know why Cynthia said anything, and Cynthia's like, I would have did the same thing with you. She apologizes for saying anything. So Portia's like, I'm 43 years old and I'm not going to do the back and forth. I already told Shamia, what it is, and we're just going to move however we move from here. Shamia's message says that her album was released in March 2025. Her music career is on. No, I'm sorry, that's not Shamia's. That's Drew's message. Drew's message says that her album was released in 2025, March 2025. Her music career is on a high, but her relationship is still on a low because Ralph is still in the basement and they are not divorced. You got Shamia's. Her says baby Shiloh is making good progress. She also has something released in 2025. They have a new surrogate and they hope to have a baby boy soon. Why didn't y'all use the same surrogate? I'm just wondering. After everything's wrapped up, they show 5 months later, Portia is back in her house that she had with Simon. Portia is so happy to get on camera and show us that she's in this house that they really gave us all them end messages just to see Portia sitting in this house and showing us the view and all that other stuff. Y'all really, really still trying to bank on Portia. That's what it was given to me at the end. Her mom comes over there. She tells her that they finally have a court date and that she's just hoping that her prenup will be enforced. We see that Simon was detained in February 2025, leaving the divorce on ICE. And I said, oh, aren't y'all funny? But we know that they've since been divorced. And that's that. That's all I got. If there's something that I didn't talk about that y'all want to put in the comments, feel free to do so. Y'all, thank you so much for watching this with me, for joining me, for liking. Go ahead and check out the other things on the channel because I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here. I'm currently reviewing, I'm finishing up My Five Wives, and I'm finishing up, I just started Poly Family. And I'm reading Under the Banner of Heaven, and I'm starting a new book on Wednesday. So feel free to join me there. Until next time.